Minglawa, this is Neji from Jesua Wine Podcast. On our channel, we share essential stories inside and outside Myanmar of resilience, strength, passion, expertise, and creativity. We interview individuals and groups that aim to make a difference. We will dive deep and cover stories of youth from Myanmar and hope it will inspire you and why not, make you realize the potential that resides in you. You can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Stay tuned for more and don't forget to subscribe and follow. We are glad you are here. Hello everyone, welcome to our second interview with the Jesua Wine Podcast. Today we have with us Jesua. So Jesua is a researcher from Myanmar. He has been involved in interim education provision before and after the coup, and he is at the moment staying abroad. Hello and welcome, Jesua.
Hi. Thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining our podcast. So we have a lot of questions for you today. So feel free to answer as we go and just to share whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Yes.
So my first question is, what has been your experiences with interim education provision before the coup in Myanmar?
Actually, it's like before the military coup, we all can see that the interim education has been evolving significantly after the military coup. However, there were also the development and evolutions of the interior education even before the military coup. But we can see such kinds of development in non-Burmese area, specifically, for example, Shan State, Kachin State, Garang State, and Rakhine State in other non-Burmese areas. So I have been involving in some of these education provision as a instructor or facilitator or trainer, taking the multiple roles. Most of these educations are non-formal or either non-formal or informal ways of learning and teaching. In these settings, like my contribution point is more about the peace, conflict, and political related education. For example, my role was to promote the awareness of the communities on the subjects of peace building, conflict resolution, social cohesion, federalism, and governance, and etc. So this is what I did before before in the informal or let's say non-formal education before the military coup. Yes.
Thank you, Jesua. And so after the coup took place, has your involvement in interim education provision, has it changed or has it remained the same? Like, how would you define it?
Of course, it's changed. Actually, the whole dynamic has been changing even before the military coup, specifically around 2019, 2020, when the whole country was hit by the COVID-19. So when the country was hit by the COVID-19, most of the learning has been stopped because we didn't have a digital infrastructure for the educational transformation. So at the time, most of the education and most of the sectors could not continue as usual. So they have to transform to the digital based learning, like Zoom-based learning, LMS-based learning, and digital technology-based learning. So at the time, I also deliver some lectures and training using the online, especially for the Northern Shan State, and the Kachin State. When we were on our right track for the digital transformation of the education. Here, what I mean by education is non-formal or informal education, not the state-led education. So when we were on the right track for the digital transformations of the education, we have the military coup in February 2021, which is the worst experience for the whole country, which is also the biggest impact in the whole country, especially not especially, including the education sector as well. The whole education sector has been collapsed, not only formal but also informal and non-formal education sector has been also collapsing because of the coup. So actually, even after the coup, I really didn't know how to continue, how to involve, how to contribute. But what I believe is education is the powerful tool in transforming the country or evolving the country. So I thought that I am more like an education, not like education person, because my dream and my life objective is to become the academic. So I was looking for the opportunity, sometimes not only looking for, but also building the opportunity. So creating the opportunities and chance. And in the 2021, I had a chance to contribute and lead the peace and federal related education platforms in one of the leading interim education service provider in Myanmar. That currently the education interim service provider that I have been working for is one of the leading non-governmental education provision service now. So there I have been contributing as the lead of the program of peace and federalism and governance and land politics as well. So I also contribute and involved in designing the curriculum, coordinating with the other academics and lecturers, recruiting the students, facilitating the classroom, and even teaching to many of the classes as well. This is how I involved in Korean education after the military school.
Mm-hmm. And so can you share the concept of the teachings you are currently supporting at the moment?
Yeah,
Like
so
what
what I
topic?
mentioned before,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what I mentioned before, I am more like a peace and political and federal related person. So I mean like academically and conceptual, got like in terms of the concepts and academic that I am familiar with. So I am delivering and I am actually promoting the concepts and topics of federalism, peace studies, conflict resolution, social cohesion, and basic political awareness. These are the topics that I have been covering.
Thank you. So you talk about a peace-related person. So I guess you speak of yourself as a non-violent agent of change. Would you mind elaborating more about it?
Yeah. So I also consider myself as I don't consider myself as a violent person. I am not a person who support the violent actions. And that's why I really condemn and I am really against the military coup and all kinds of oppression because all kinds of oppressions lead to the violent action. So I don't like personally I don't like the violence and I don't support any kinds of violence, any forms of violence as well. So of course, I do consider as a non-violent agent of change because what I believe is that in order to have the changes, what we need is not only, well, like there are many theories and concepts about the changes, not only in the political changes, but also in the revolution of the system theories and concepts. There are many people, there are many theories who are supporting that in order to transform and change, we need the resistance or maybe violence in order to have the absolute change because we need to like we need to break all the things and replace with a new one. This is what the unbalanced, unstruggled people believe that. I also support that kind of like concept and that kind of conceptualizations and that kinds of thinking as well. But however, on my point of view, if we want to have a peaceful future, I think non-violence is something that we still need to hold. We still need to hold. What I what I don't want to mean is that we have to get rid out of the resistance of violence. I didn't mean at all. What I mean is we still need to hold the principles and thinkings of non-violence because according to what we believe, the government or the people who has a power, the reason behind this power is because of the transfer of power from the civilians and ordinary people. If we stop transferring this power to the power holder, the power will not be the powerful entity anymore. So that's the basic concept behind the civil disobedience movement. That's why since I'm military, I do believe in the civil disobedience movement. Um, the work that I'm currently working in career education is also a kind of non-violent as well. Because we in non-violent movement, we have a non-cooperation, non-collaboration, like replacing alternative, such kinds of like tactics have been involved. And what I am doing is that what I'm doing is that I'm contributing to the offer of alternative one to the either and giver education provision. Like what I'm offering is like more free, liberated education instead of the oppressed and restricted education services. That's also the part of non-violence that I have been working on. And as I mentioned before, I also doing a lot of research, not in the resistance studies as well. So in the resistance studies, in Myanmar, if we want to have the current the current dynamic and changes of Myanmar has been comprising of not only the armed struggle but also the non-violence as well. So what our approach is the combinations of both non-violence and other them. Currently, because of the country situation, most of the people might give the favor to the armed struggle, which is understandable. I also don't argue that. I also don't oppose that. But whatever, I believe in non-violence, and non-violence is something that we can also achieve the transformation of the country. Non-violence, it can be also the tactic that we can use to seek the objective that we want. So yeah.
Thank you. I think you already answered the next question. Like, we have seen a lot of young people leaving the main cities and joining armed forces, but also in order to bring peace back to the country, right? Like choosing violence for peace in a way. So what is your perception about that?
Yeah. Actually, actually before or even after the coup, I am really familiar with the UP security dynamic as well. So I have been studying and looking at the dynamic um, agency of youth, agency of youth. So it is acceptable, it is understandable that young people decided to take arms because thousands of young people used to believe in non-violence. So when we look at the time of the 2021 February, March, and April, young people, they are the ones who committed and devoted to the non-violent protests. They, they were the ones who were creative in non-violent tactics. So that what they have to encounter is the inhuman things, inhuman oppression, and inhuman crackdown by the military. So it is justifiable for the young people to have the grievances and angriness, anger, anger and grievances. It is totally right for the young people to have the anger and the grievances because of the grievances and the anger, they really had no choice just to take arms. So the reason I have been looking at the rationale and the motivation behind the reason of taking arms. The first reason is the the pushing factors is the military themselves. The military push the the military push the young people to take arms. That's the first reason. The second reason is the pre-existing situation of Myanmar. Our country was never at peace. Our country has never at peace. We were living under the conflict and violence since the independence time. So we have a lot of like ethnic groups which can be accessible for the which can be accessible for the young people to take part. So young people have the opportunities and resources to take them. So because of the pre-existing situation, this I think that will be the second factor. The third factor is I have to see the international community. So, so in the early period of the military coup, young people have been demanding and asking the international community to help and support. Even until now, we didn't receive any like uh village or any good support from the international community. But we have it only the contamination letter, and but we have it only the contamination letter and only one, not the action. So the young people have been frustrated. That's also right of them because they are very right to be frustrated. So because of the ignorance and negligence of the international community, young people have no choice just to take that. So this is really right. Because of these three pushing factors, that young people try the unresist them and struggle. But one thing, there are also many young people who don't want to take arms, who don't want to kill, who don't want to take the violent tactics, like me, including me. So there are still young people who believe in non-violence way. So what are they doing? They were doing the advocacy. They are still doing the advocacy, even though the international community has been ignoring the country for 3 years. The young people did not give that. The young people who believe in non-violence do not give up. They are still doing the advocacy. They are still doing the advocacy to the international community. They are still doing the fundraising for those who are civilian. They are still doing for humanitarian assistance. They are still doing for the humanitarian related education and health sector. So there are still many young people who are doing non who are doing in the sector which are not and resistant as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. This is very interesting and very enlightening on the situation at the moment. So you have yourself been studying abroad recently. So coming back to the more like the power of education during these times, how do you believe this knowledge will support eventually conflict transformation in Myanmar?
So in terms of like conflict transformation in Myanmar, currently what we face in Myanmar is the complex humanitarian emergency. We are we are facing not only one crisis but also multiple crises. No? We have a humanitarian emergency. There are millions of people who are in need of humanitarian, and also we have a very big conflict, and also we also have the climate change as well. The most important thing is we are not prepared for that. No? The whole country are not prepared for such a depressing situation. We are not prepared for that. So in order to have the conflict transformation or peaceful future in coming years, what we need to is like we have to do a lot of work in the sector of transitional justice, in the sector of humanitarian law and humanitarian international law for the engagement, like engagement law, like a lot of conflict, a lot of war, such kinds of like knowledge has to be increased and has to be developed, and then the resistance group, and also the civilian protection, because the conflict has been expanding. The conflict now reached the urban area. So what we need is like the civilian protection. So we need to reach the awareness. We have to prepare the civilian resistance groups and all the people who are living in Myanmar to be ready for the next step of the resistance. This is what we need to do. At the same time, when we are doing the preparation, what we also need is the preparation for the future as well. So we need to make sure the justice to be delivered, we need to make sure there will be the human rights and human dignity principle going on, whatever we are doing, not only in the engagement within the civilian, but also with the engagement with the resistant groups as well, or resistant group, or even the enemy. So this is something that we need to be prepared because, as I mentioned before, we are not prepared for that kind of like complicated humanitarian emergency. So, but what we can prepare is for the future. So that's what we need to prepare. But I really do not have an answer for the uh, how our conflict transformation will be like, how the peace will be like, and when will that be achieved. I think no one have an answer now because of the very depressing news and very frustrated situation happening in Myanmar.
Thanks. So it's good to get ready and to get trained and to learn more about it. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So coming back to the present moment in Myanmar and especially this week, we'd like to ask you, would you have any recommendation or advice for youth living inside the country and going through the struggle of the conscription law?
Yeah. First of all, of course, like we also we get, I'm also as a young people, I also have a concern and I also a bit worried about the law. But whatever, the people on the ground might be worried more. So we can see that currently we can see the very big insurgents. So in the airport, that there are many reported news that thousands of young people are trying to leave the country, not only using the official route, but also using the unofficial route as well. Yesterday, there was a report of the detention or the arrestment of the Burmese young people who are flee from Myanmar to Thailand using the illegal way. They have been 40 of young people were arrested. At the same time, while we look at the news of the in Yangon, thousands of people are queuing for the passport and visa. This situation are um, a bit like a bit sad, a bit sad because um, so I honestly speaking, I don't think I am not in the right position to see my fellow young people, my friends who are living in Myanmar to do what they should do, what they should not do. I don't think I have a great privileges living abroad. So but I have to use that privileges to support these people. So what I can do is that when they need the advices for relocation or resettlement, finding the job, continue their education or whatever they have to do, I am always ready for them to support, like whether I know them or I don't know them. If they are from Burma and if they are Burmese, I am ready to support them. Individually, this is what I can give the recommendation. The second way is they have to, I didn't I didn't want to recommend that they should like instead of joining the military, they should find the armed resistance. I don't want to recommend them. This is their absolute like right. They can choose whatever they want to do, but there are many options that they can choose. There are many options that they can choose. Uh, please try to please make a consultation and discussion with their own family, make the consultation with their fellow friends and fellow people who are living abroad and who are living inside. Make a very in-depth discussion about that and prepare for yourself because uh, when we face a situation, we are the one, they are the one who have to suffer, who have to face the situation themselves. People who will support is just the people who will support, not the directly suffering or not the directly encountering one. But what I can say is that, but sometimes when you try to flee the country because of the belief that living abroad is might be better than living inside, sometimes that might get also down because living abroad might be challenging sometimes as well. But it depends, no? It depends. I did that one. It depends on the situation and it depends on the individual. So I'm afraid that I don't have a proper recommendation. But what I can say is that please make a discussion with the family members, fellow friends, fellow people in the community, and make the decision. Whatever you think should be doing. So this is the recommendation that I can do. But what I can the last thing that I can say is do not do not give it easily. That there is a will, there is a way. So if you have a will, there will be the way. So please have a will, and then you can find a way. So that's the thing that I can say now.
Thanks, Jesua, for helping the reflection process. Yeah, it's a tough one, and of course, there's no clear solution, but it's very helpful. So we're coming to the last question of our interview. So what's your opinion about changes that can be made for the advancements of the political landscape for a peaceful future in Myanmar?
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, what we need is like the resistance groups should have access to the conflict-related education, such as international humanitarian law, engagement law, and other kinds of human rights related law. At the same time, the community also needs to have the access of the justice, needs to access of the awareness of the justice, what is the justice, how we can seek the justice, and such kinds of things. And also, there should be the humanitarian assistance for all those who in need. And then the political elite, the elite of the political community, the government side, they also need to do more effort. They have to do double and triple. At the same time, those who have privileges like me, so we have privileges of living abroad, um, taking the education abroad. So for these kind of people who have privileges, they also need to put double and triple effort to contribute back to the country. So these are the initial points of the investment for the future of the country.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So thanks, Jesua, for being with us today. And yeah, it's been really interesting to have this conversation with you. And I'm taking a lot from it. Yeah, thank you so much. And we wish
Thank you
you
very
all the
much.
best. Yeah, and hope to be in touch again.
Thank you.
Thank you.